You come home from work, expecting to find your brother relaxing after another ordinary day. Instead, you discover the back door wide open, his phone and laptop gone, but his car still sitting in the driveway. His pets are wandering around confused, and there's no sign of a struggle, no goodbye note, no explanation. Just nothing. This is exactly what happened to the Marko family on August 1st, 2024, when 36-year-old Eric Marko vanished from his Wichita, Kansas home without a trace. What started as a welfare check turned into one of Kansas's most puzzling missing person cases, and nearly a year later, his family is still desperately searching for answers. Eric Marko wasn't just another face in the crowd. He was an active member of the Wichita community, with a vibrant social media presence. His Instagram account, @EJ_Marko, showed a man living his life to the fullest with 411 followers, 1,220 people he followed, and 376 posts documenting his daily experiences. He was connected, engaged, and by all accounts, living a normal life. But on that Thursday evening in August, everything changed. When family members arrived at Eric's residence for what should have been a routine visit, they immediately knew something was wrong. The back door, which Eric would never leave unlocked, was standing wide open. His cell phone, something he never went anywhere without, was missing. His laptop, containing all his personal information and digital life, had vanished along with it. Yet his vehicle remained untouched in the driveway. His pets were still there, confused and waiting for their owner to return. There were no signs of forced entry, no evidence of a struggle, no blood, no broken furniture. It was as if Eric had simply disappeared into thin air. The Wichita Police Department immediately launched an investigation, assigning Detective Addie Perkins to the case. They classified it as case number 24C137129. Simultaneously, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation opened their own file, designating it as case M878052199. But here's where things get interesting. Despite having two major law enforcement agencies working the case, despite following up on numerous tips from the public, despite conducting extensive searches, investigators have found themselves at a standstill. Detective Perkins has been notably careful in her public statements, explaining that while they've received tips and followed various leads, the evidence hasn't led to any definitive conclusions about whether foul play was involved. Think about that for a moment. In most missing person cases, especially those involving adults, there are usually clear indicators pointing in one direction or another. Either there's evidence of voluntary departure, signs of foul play, or at least some trail to follow. But Eric's case has left investigators genuinely puzzled. The timeline of that evening becomes crucial when you consider the circumstances. Eric was last seen at his home, going about his normal routine. There's no indication he was planning to go anywhere. No travel arrangements, no packed bags, no messages to friends or family about leaving town. His social media activity, which had been consistent up until that point, simply stopped. His brother Ryan has been particularly vocal about the case on social media, sharing updates and pleading with the public for any information that might help bring Eric home. The family's pain is evident in every post, every plea, every desperate attempt to keep Eric's story in the public eye. What makes this case even more intriguing is the selective nature of what was taken. Whoever took Eric's phone and laptop knew exactly what they were looking for. These weren't random items grabbed in a hurry. They were specifically targeted pieces of technology that contained Eric's digital footprint, his communications, his online activities, and potentially clues about his whereabouts. The question that haunts investigators is simple, yet complex. Was Eric the victim of a carefully planned crime, or did he voluntarily disappear, taking only his most essential digital devices with him? The months that followed Eric's disappearance saw the case generate significant attention across Kansas. Local news outlets including KK News and KWCH covered the story extensively, interviewing family members and providing updates on the investigation. Missing person databases picked up the case, and true crime communities began discussing the puzzling circumstances surrounding Eric's vanishing. But despite all the attention, despite all the resources dedicated to finding him, Eric Marko remained missing. The case that began with such hope for a quick resolution had transformed into a long-term mystery that would test the resolve of his family and the capabilities of law enforcement. If you're as captivated by this mystery as thousands of others have been, and you want to see how this incredible story unfolds, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because what happens next will completely change how you view this case. The investigation continued through the fall and winter months of 2024, with police following up on every lead, no matter how small. They interviewed friends, family members, co-workers, and acquaintances. They examined Eric's financial records, looking for any unusual transactions or activities that might provide clues about his whereabouts. They analyzed his phone records, or at least what they could access without the physical device. They checked surveillance cameras in the neighborhood, hoping to catch a glimpse of Eric leaving his home or someone else entering. They coordinated with other agencies, checking hospitals, morgues, and other jurisdictions for any sign of Eric or his belongings. Yet month after month, the investigation yielded no concrete answers. Eric Marko had seemingly vanished as completely as if he had never existed at all. The emotional toll on the Marko family was immense. Holidays came and went without Eric. His birthday passed in sorrow rather than celebration. The family clung to hope, while simultaneously preparing for the worst possible outcome. As 2024 turned into 2025, the case remained as mysterious as ever. But the family wasn't about to give up. They had one more card to play, one more way to bring attention to Eric's disappearance, and hopefully generate the tip that would finally bring him home.